Chosen one, while you were fighting silent wars and wondering if anyone saw your struggle, entire forces were shifting around you. Unseen, deliberate, divine. Every betrayal, every loss, every sleepless night was part of an invisible design that has now unfolded into something far beyond imagination. What you thought was isolation was actually alignment. The cosmos wasn't ignoring you. It was positioning you. And now, the truth emerges. You've become the blueprint, the new plan, the recalibration point of a nation that's rediscovering its higher consciousness. What began as your private transformation has rippled outward into policy, innovation, and vision. Elon Musk, the visionary who turns impossibility into engineering, recognized it first. He saw your energy bending systems, your presence shifting outcomes. He called it pattern recognition, but the government called it potential. The whispers in high places now speak of integrating your approach, your clarity, your resilience, your divine logic into the new framework of leadership itself. People with wealth enough to move economies have started aligning with your frequency. They saw how you turned wounds into wisdom and chaos into order. You became proof that spiritual intelligence is the next evolution of power. And now, the United States, once driven by ambition alone, is quietly learning from your vibration. You're not joining their plan, chosen one. You're the plan. Power has acknowledged power, and the world is finally catching up to your frequency. Preparation was what seemed like seclusion. Intelligence networks you were unaware of were recording every instant you stood alone against insurmountable odds. People whose one phone call may change the course of whole industries have taken notice of your unwillingness to crumble under circumstances that would have destroyed others. They have been waiting for you to hit the precise frequency at which they can assist you. Recognize that the timing of your sudden awakening wasn't coincidental. An epiphany about the course of your life. The unfathomable awareness that everything is about to change. Desperation is not the source of these illusions. You finally reached the frequency where such contact is feasible. Therefore, you've been getting downloads from awareness levels that most people never reach. Your frequency has been raised to meet forces that have been waiting in the wings by years of choosing progress above comfort, refusing to let bitterness poison your heart, and holding on to hope when reason dictated surrender. The people who are getting ready to enter your life are guided by moral principles that encourage them to stand with those who represent the improvements they want to see in the world. They saw your metamorphosis through the genuineness of your development, rather than via networking or self-promotion. In a society full of fake inspiration and stage spirituality, real change is like a lighthouse piercing the mists. Your readiness to confront the darkness that most people avoid for their whole lives. Choosing healing over retaliation and breaking generational habits that have shackled your bloodline for decades has produced a resonance that attracts strong allies like magnets attracts metal. What will surprise you, however, is how they have been keeping tabs on your development. Every good deed you did in private left energy signatures that record on spiritual instruments that most people are unaware exist. When, in spite of your own difficulties, you decided to assist that stranger. When you forgive those who would have been irrevocably harmed by betrayals. When you choose to act honorably when it would have been simpler to take shortcuts. Those whose job it is to find souls deserving of tremendous investment were watching all of this. Perhaps you haven't really realized what this donor sees in you yet. They see that your hardships were not arbitrary penalties from an uncaring world, but rather well-planned initiations intended to create a person who could wield a torch so large that it could light hundreds of routes to share the love of the angels, write them in, and contribute up to $20 with a super thank you. At the same time, the childhood traumas that almost broke you were releasing the bonds that held your ancestors to cycles of fear, repression, and restriction. Every time you opted the truth over cozy falsehoods, progress over stagnation, and love over hate, you were changing the narrative for everyone in your energy field, not just for yourself. Those whose whole focus is on finding and assisting change-inducing catalysts have taken note of this ripple effect. The support you're receiving isn't charity or sympathy because you've climbed to the top of their list. Their involvement in a cause they believe has the potential to change millions of lives. They have seen how you inherently become a beacon of hope for those in need. How your mere presence may completely change someone's outlook from one of despair to one of opportunity. Your unique blend of experiences, knowledge, and fortitude makes the ideal basis for anything that goes against the grain of how influence works. The timing accuracy required here is what makes it even more amazing. Before contacting you, your benefactor has been waiting for you to achieve a certain stage of inner growth. They are aware that early intervention, even with the best of intentions, might impede the process of natural development that produces true strength. Their appearance in your life isn't a coincidence. It is specifically adjusted to your level of preparedness to accept assistance without becoming reliant on it. This degree of calculated patience shows how well they comprehend the workings of genuine empowerment. You've passed exams that you were unaware you were taking, shown traits under duress that are just theoretically desired by most individuals. Not everyone in your circle is interested in your success. People who have been used to your struggle are in danger because of your impending ascension. Although they have built their identities on feeling superior to your situation and needing you, these people aren't always bad. Their whole perspective on what is possible, what individuals deserve, and how life really functions is called into question by your metamorphosis. Certain of these forces of resistance function from positions of alleged authority in your life, such as family members who have taken on the role of advisors, friends who have become used to your difficulties and have given them a sense of purpose, or organizations that stand to gain financially from concealing certain facts. Their established order is under danger because to your development, and they won't give up their power without using strategies that make you doubt your value, your preparedness, and your eligibility for this kind of assistance. However, here is when the actual strength of your unidentified buddies becomes apparent. They have more than simply financial resources, albeit they are significant enough to make your present financial worries look archaic. They possess political, social, and legal clout that may precisely crush dissent, leaving your adversaries perplexed as to what powers they have roused. You'll run across opposition that functions on many levels at once, each more complex than the others. On the surface, you will encounter clear resistance from people whose power rests on your ongoing battle. These people may try to undermine you in public by disseminating stories that cast doubt on your morality or deservingness. To share the love of the angels, write amen, and contribute up to $20 with a super thank you. They are aware that their job as the guardians of possibility is in jeopardy due to your transition, and they will not relinquish it amicably. Give this video some love if it makes you feel good, so that more people who have been selected might find their way here. More subtly, you will face resistance from those who say they are on your side, but whose actions constantly impede your advancement. Because it gives them a feeling of accomplishment or superiority, these people have unwittingly invested in your suffering. Instead of empowering people, they provide assistance that breeds dependence. Advice that doesn't help you go forward, but instead keeps you in circles. Emotional assistance that, instead of building strength, serves to perpetuate victim awareness. Systems and organizations that have based their whole existence on concealing certain facts provide the most destructive resistance. You will find that their reaction include resources and tactics that seem almost supernatural in their coordination and efficacy if your purpose entails exposing abuse, corruption, or deceit that implicates powerful institutions. They wield power over media outlets, judicial systems, and social organizations, forging seemingly unbreakable barriers to protect themselves. The efficiency of the support system being put together is comparable to military operations organized by strategic thinkers who have spent decades researching the movement of power via networks that the majority of people never see. Every possible roadblock has been foreseen. Every attack vector is resisted, and every vulnerability is safeguarded. Entire networks of influence have been subtly reorganizing to provide doors for your success that completely circumvent conventional gatekeepers while you've been concentrating on introspection and personal recovery. This security goes beyond just keeping out outside dangers. Your donor is aware that treating the underlying causes of issues rather than merely their symptoms is necessary for genuine empowerment. They are ready to provide materials that help mend generational scars in the areas you will be working in as well as inside your family line. This is personal assistance masquerading as structural reform. To share the love of the angels, write Amen and contribute up to $20 with a super thank you. Furthermore, you'll be shocked by the impending scale since we are not talking about little improvements in the situation or brief respites. Mystics refer to the assistance that surrounds you as a field of grace, a place where chances present themselves at the ideal moment, where synchronicity increases and where barriers melt more readily. This isn't passive magic, however. It's the outcome of strong people deliberately eliminating obstacles, paving the road, and fostering an environment that allows your innate genius to flourish unhindered. It was never intended for you to travel this route by yourself. And there will soon be indisputable proof of this fact. The activation of what may be referred to as a consciousness infrastructure is what you are seeing. A purposefully built network of assets, connections, and skills intended to help people who represent the changes mankind must undertake in order to hasten human progress. This is a natural result of developed souls realizing their duty to utilize their advantages in the service of communal change. It is neither a secret organization nor a conspiracy. This is a total reorganization of life. People's decades-long transformations are condensed into timescales that don't fit the traditional notion of how change happens. It's going to be safe for the first time for your inner child, that part of you that learned to anticipate disappointment, that part of you that built survival techniques to deal with a world that felt hostile to your sensitivity. The security that surrounds you will be both tangible and intangible, practical and spiritual, allowing you to finally unwind from the years of hypervigilance that share the love of the angels. Write Amen and contribute up to $20 with a super thank you. Ray down. What is about to happen is not intended to make you comfortable or reliant. Your donor understands that development and difficulty are fundamental to who you are. They're not clearing the way for you. They're making sure that the challenges you encounter advance your greatest development rather than being a means to maintain your diminutive size. You will have the resources, legal support, and platforms to transform individual healing sessions into movements that change policy if your gift is to assist others in ending abusive patterns. You will have access to distribution networks and promotional assistance that are inexplicable if your mission is to create art that wakes awareness. Your nervous system is going to undergo a recalibration that will shock you with its intensity since it has been in survival mode for so long that stress seems normal. Your body will need time to acclimate to the new reality when true safety takes the place of hypervigilance. Plenty takes the place of scarcity, and support takes the place of isolation. As decades of tension finally come to an end, expect floods of emotion. The external changes in your situation are mirrored in this bodily metamorphosis. Your identity must grow to include options that were previously unthinkable, just as your body must adjust to safety after extended stress. Your former self will not vanish. Instead, it will blend with parts of you that have been awaiting the proper circumstances. The inner child who learned to shrink in order to prevent further suffering will find that they are free to take up space. The part of you that evolved complex ways to get acceptance and affection will experience what it's like to be supported without conditions. Perhaps most astonishingly, however, you'll find that some of these supporters have been quietly affecting your life for years. It's possible that opportunities that seem to come easily were purposefully generated. It is possible that invisible hands silently eliminated obstacles that inexplicably resolved themselves. It's possible that forces you never knew existed led you to people who came into your life at pivotal times and provided just what you needed. At first, This realization may cause you to mistrust free choice and real accomplishment. You may be certain that every decision you've taken, every lesson you've learned, and every change you've experienced has been all your own. Instead of directly influencing your development, the assistance has been environmental, fostering circumstances that allow for your genuine growth to thrive. Before it dissipates, the resistance will get more intense. The danger your elevation offers to their established order will be recognized by those who have profited from your struggle, who have constructed identities around your limits, and who profit from institutions that keep people stuck. They'll use tactics more advanced than outright public disparaging or disseminating lies meant to cast doubt on your reputation. More subtly, you'll run across resistance from those who say they agree with you, but whose actions constantly impede advancement. The most dangerous opposition arises from organizations and structures that have been established on the concealment of certain facts. You will find that their reaction requires resources and coordination that appear almost supernaturally successful if your purpose entails exposing abuse, corruption, or deceit that implicates powerful institutions. They wield sway over social institutions, media outlets, and judicial systems, forming seemingly impenetrable protective webs. What they haven't realized, however, is that your unidentified friends have spent decades preparing for just such resistance. The entire might of your friends will be exposed at this exact moment. Although you may anticipate receiving support in the form of gentle help and encouragement, what you'll get is more akin to the defense of a strong parent protecting their kid. When necessary, legal teams will appear. Narratives will change in your favor due to social influence. Financial obstacles will vanish as if they never happened. The most startling thing you'll learn, however, is that your donor isn't the only one. The donor who is trying to enter your life is not acting out of random altruism or emotional motive. They stand for something far more deliberate and organized. A deliberate attempt by advanced spirits to quickly alter human awareness by assisting those who have previously shown that they are more interested in progress than comfort. Counter resources have already been positioned to meet or surpass whatever resources they could use. Alternative narratives have been prepared for instant deployment, and every story they may create has been foreseen. This is due to the fact that your benefactor's position was not the result of pure chance. They have studied for decades how the highest levels of power function, how information moves through networks of influence, and how perception affects reality in ways that most people are unaware of. Those who resist your ascent will find that they have misjudged forces supporting you in ways that will cause them to reevaluate all they thought they knew about how protection works when they try to quiet you, discredit you, or undermine your advancement. When necessary, legal teams will appear. Narratives will change in your favor due to social influence. Financial obstacles will vanish as if they never happened. The most startling thing you'll learn, however, is that your donor isn't special. They belong to a group of people who have been waiting for someone just like you to show up. Your material progress will be accompanied by significant and noticeable energy alteration. Sometimes in an uncomfortable way, your presence will start to convey vibrations that awaken latent potentials in others. Individuals who have been used to limitations will be faced with opportunities they have long shunned. People who have made struggle their identity will come across someone who has overcome hardship without losing empathy for others who are still caught in it. There is more to this dynamic improvement than just empowering oneself. It gets you ready for the responsibilities that comes with your higher situation. When you have resources that have the power to change lives. When the choices you make have an impact on thousands of others. You must act from a level of awareness that can manage such power responsibly when your decisions have an impact on generations and communities. Those who are seeing your trip learn from the change process itself. Every obstacle you overcome gracefully, every temptation you withstand, and every decision you make based on integrity rather than benefit shows what is possible when someone gives their all to their own development. Your life turns into a live course in service-oriented achievement, genuine power, and conscious leadership. Conscious conspirators gathering in hidden rooms are not what they are. When transformation catalysts reach critical mass, These souls who came into this world with special objectives will assist them. Every member of this network contributes unique resources and knowledge. One may have the ability to change public opinion overnight via media influence. Someone else may be in charge of the educational systems that incorporate your lessons into the curriculum. A third may be able to eliminate regulatory obstacles to your job via their political ties. When combined, they provide a support system that is remarkably efficient and well-coordinated. The arrangement demonstrates multi-generational planning. In order to be accessible when transformation catalysts like you reach critical mass, some of these people have been placed in influential positions. They have dedicated their lives to establishing riches, making contacts, and honing their skills, not for their own personal gain, but rather in support of causes they may have only vaguely comprehended up until this point. The activation of what might be referred to as awareness infrastructure is what you are seeing. Intentionally built networks of assets, connections, and skills intended to hasten the progress of humans. The only thing your benefactor wants in return is for you to become who you really are. No hidden intentions, no obligations, and no debt to pay back. They are aware that real change is uncontrollable and unmanageable. It needs unrestricted room to develop in accordance with its own knowledge. Your character's ability to discern energy signs at depths that most people can't reach is what gives them this amount of trust. They've seen how you react to having power and not having it, how you handle those who can assist you against those who can't, how you use resources before and after they are available. They are persuaded that increasing your influence would be in your best interest by your consistency across these factors. This is not an act of charity or emotion. This is an example of developed awareness making a smart investment, identifying genuine change when it observes it. This is due to the fact that, while both may have contributed, your benefactor's rise to prominence was not only due to chance or inheritance. They have studied for decades how the highest levels of power function, how information moves through networks of influence, and how perception affects reality in ways that most people are unaware of. They have mastered the same mechanisms that your opponents think they're the only ones in control of. The thing that will surprise you the most is learning that your benefactor has been coordinating assistance through a number of intermediaries and proxy groups, establishing layers of defense so complex that even if your adversaries try to track down the source of your support, they will run into obstacles and misdirection at every turn. Shell corporations, nonprofit organizations, investment firms, and law firms are all positioned to make it seem as if your assistance is coming from a variety of disconnected sources. In actuality, however, it originates from this one strong friend who recognizes the need to work in the shadows. Confirmation that this network is activating on your behalf is provided by the synchronicities that are starting to appear around you. Doors will open at the most inconvenient times. When resources are required, they will show up. When their contributions are needed, people with precisely the correct connections or experience will join your orbit. It's not a coincidence. They're the outcome of meticulous planning by experts who know how to manipulate reality at a level that most people can never reach. Without your knowing, some of these supporters have been having a long-term impact on your life from a distance. It's possible that opportunities that seem to come easily were purposefully generated. It is possible that invisible hands silently eliminated obstacles that inexplicably resolved themselves. It's possible that factors you were unaware of led you to people who showed up at pivotal times and provided just what you needed. At first, this realization may cause you to mistrust free choice and real accomplishment. Those who are seeing your trip learn from the change process itself. Every obstacle you overcome gracefully, every temptation you withstand, and every decision you make based on integrity rather than benefit shows what is possible when someone gives their all to their own development. Your life turns into a live course in service-oriented achievement, genuine power, and conscious leadership. However, the most significant change will occur inside. The breakdown of defenses that have kept you safe during times of danger and shortage, but now restrict your ability to accept and distribute plenty. As real security takes the place of survival mode, you will gradually relax the hypervigilance that kept you safe during vulnerable moments. The self-reliance that enabled you to endure desertion will transform into interdependence that acknowledges the value of reciprocal assistance. You are not a passive part of this cosmic system. You aren't being saved or rescued. You're getting ready for a mission that calls for protection and resources never before seen. Without anticipating enormous returns in the shape of a beneficial influence on the collective awareness, the universe wouldn't make such a significant investment in one person. You gave up on your childhood aspirations since they didn't seem possible. They weren't dreams. They were forebodings. You may be confident that every decision you've taken, every lesson you've learned, and every change you've experienced has been wholly your own. Instead of directly influencing development, the assistance has been environmental, fostering circumstances that allow for your genuine growth to thrive. You're not a passive part of this cosmic system. You aren't being saved or rescued. You're getting ready for a mission that calls for protection and resources never before seen. The universe wouldn't make such a significant investment without anticipating enormous benefits in terms of raising the standard of consciousness. The dreams you gave up as a child because they didn't seem realistic weren't fantasies. They were forebodings. Your meditation-related images that appeared too big to convey weren't projections of your ego. They were your real future downloaded. It wasn't an illusion to realize that your life was designed for something important. You were being prepared for this time by the truth, unconsciously supporting outdated paradigms. Everyone who advised you to be realistic, set lower goals, and accept limitations as wisdom was doing so. The purpose of your emergence is to collapse. As trauma-carved brain pathways progressively reconfigure themselves around safety and plenty, you must be patient with yourself throughout this internal recalibration. It will take some time for your nervous system, which is used to stress hormones and survival reactions, to become used to long-term calm and security. As decades of pent-up frustration suddenly find a safe outlet, expect emotional waves. Breaking generational patterns wasn't simply family karma. It was also the gradual emergence of aspects of yourself that had been hidden throughout tough times into the light of your new reality. Your individual efforts were removing the combined shadows. Human evolution has benefited from your mending. Additionally, you are now getting help that is comparable with the service you have previously rendered. This isn't money. It's an expansion of your ability to serve on a larger scale. All of the things that hurt, you are also getting you ready for this growth. You learned to spot true devotion from every betrayal. You learned what really counts from every setback. You learned to find optimism in the most hopeless situations from every moment of sadness. These hardships weren't arbitrary. These courses were created to get you ready for roles that call for exceptional fortitude. Your unidentified allies understand that when you adopt an abundant viewpoint supported by strategic resources, what seems impossible from a scarcity mentality becomes inevitable. The changes that are happening all around you will be visible to the public. This is not a personal triumph to be celebrated alone. This exemplifies what might happen when a person rejects the idea that fate is determined by circumstances. Your accomplishment will be obvious enough to motivate others who are still caught in the cycles you have broken, while also drawing attention to the structures that benefit from keeping people tiny. Your goal will be furthered by the resistance that arises as your influence increases. Every effort to lessen your influence will be met with such prompt and forceful defense that onlookers will comprehend their observing powers in a way that is beyond common understanding. Those who have been waiting for proof that such protection exists will be inspired by this display of strength supporting your cause and deter future difficulties. It was never intended for you to travel this route by yourself. There is more to the Obsidian inner order than meets the eye. It is a haven for the awakened, the exiled, and those who have been abandoned for their truth and gaslight for their abilities. We get together live on Zoom once a week. Stories of change from real individuals with genuine faces. A healer who overcame ritual abuse and discovered their power. A former CFO who accepted their psychic skills. and a seer who liberated themselves from religious persecution. We're joined by dozens of others who have been through precisely what you have. Your spiritual family is this group. I will never abandon you. I will never allow you to experience this revelation by yourself. I would never ignore your pain as if it were a sign of disdain. You are not punished by being banished from a normal world. For us and the family that chose you back, it was a prelude to this. Join the Order of Obsidian Inno. In the description, there is a link. Your narrative is turning into a real-life example of what is achievable. Every discussion you have, every choice you make, and every boundary you uphold now carry the weight of an example for those who are observing to determine if change is worth the effort. This is what happens when someone truly dedicates themselves to their progress, regardless of the cost. Your life is turning into evidence that the cosmos provides resources beyond our wildest dreams in order to reward genuine progress. Your potential will surpass all of your fantasies in the near future. The possibilities you've seen during times of enlarged awareness, the visions you've hardly dared to recognize, the dreams you've cultivated in solitude. All of this was a prelude to realizing the scope of what is now emerging. No irrational expectations were being created by your mind. It was downloading your true destiny's blueprints. The advanced intelligence network that has been recording your decisions for longer than you would think comfortable is something you are unaware of. You were friendly to everyone, even when no one else was around. Each time you put integrity ahead of gain. Each time you helped someone while you were having difficulties yourself. Those whose job it is to identify people who need special investment have seen and documented all of this. The energy signatures you make register on instruments that most people are unaware exist. A person becomes visible to networks that specialize in amplifying such frequencies when they continuously choose service over self-interest, truth over comfort, and love over fear. By helping those who have previously shown a dedication to progress above comfort, the benefactor who is approaching your life is an intentional attempt by developed spirits to bring about a swift transition in human awareness. All of the things that hurt you are also getting you ready for this growth. You learn to spot true devotion from every betrayal. You learn what really counts from every setback. You learn to find optimism in the most hopeless situations from every moment of sadness. These hardships weren't arbitrary. These courses were created to get you ready for roles that call for exceptional fortitude. The security that surrounds you goes beyond what most people think about. Higher facets of your being are being protected from psychic interference, energy manipulation, and spiritual assault, while your conscious mind concentrates on pragmatic issues like economics and logistics. Your unidentified pals are aware that transformation catalysts need security that functions on many levels at once. Your potential will surpass all of your fantasies in the near future. The aspirations you've privately fostered. You've hardly dared to recognize the images. The potential you've seen in times of heightened awareness. All of this was a prelude to realizing the scope of what is now emerging. No irrational expectations were being created by your mind. It was downloading your true destiny's blueprints. The breadth of change that lies ahead of you includes aspects you haven't yet thought about. There is something even more important than the financial wealth, protective influence, network of strong supporters, and removal of restrictive conditions. The realization of your actual self and the complete awakening of abilities that have lain dormant throughout your human journey. What will really leave you stunned, however, is this. Your donor has more than simply conventional wealth. They're in charge of resources that governments want. Patents on innovative technology, rare earth minerals, and knowledge that has the potential to completely upend whole industries in a single day. When people choose to support your cause, you're getting more than simply money. You are obtaining access to resources that are beyond the reach of most global leaders. When opposition tries to exert economic pressure on you by severing financing sources or restricting commercial chances, they will find that your support system functions at a level that renders such strategies hilariously ineffectual. Their extent of resource dominance encompasses areas that transform international markets, energy industries, medicinal discoveries, communication technology, and environmental solutions. The portfolio of your allies seems like a roadmap for the future of mankind. The impact will be felt across continents if they decide to align these resources with your objective, and your opponents will recognize that they have faced forces that have the power to change the course of whole civilizations. Even if you have done both admirably, you're more than just someone who has persevered and triumphed. Despite your remarkable endurance, you are more than just a survivor who has learnt to flourish. You are a consciousness that made the intentional decision to take on this particular form during this period of human history in order to contribute to the growth of the species toward a higher level of consciousness, compassion, and wisdom. The problems you encountered were not arbitrary obstacles imposed by an uncaring cosmos. Rather, they were purposefully created experiences meant to cultivate the traits required for the task you are about to undertake. You learned to spot true devotion from every betrayal. Every setback made clear what really counts. Each depressing experience bolstered your ability to provide hope to others facing comparable challenges. Your capacity to provide safety for individuals who have never suffered abuse or neglect has grown with each case. Your adversaries fail to realize that your donor has access to intelligence networks that are much more advanced than government organizations. They have up-to-date knowledge of social trends before they are made public, political choices before they are made, and market movements before they occur. This is neither corporate espionage or insider trading. This is awareness functioning at frequencies that make information accessible before it solidifies into the material world. Your opponents will find that your support system foresaw their actions months in advance and had counter-strategies in place that transformed their aggressiveness into benefits for your mission when they try to surprise you with unanticipated strikes. It was more than simply personal growth that brought you to this point. It was getting ready to contribute to the awakening of mankind. Your personal recovery turns into a group healing. Your own innovation becomes a model that others may use. Your accomplishment serves as proof that change is achievable, even from the most difficult beginnings. Personal salvation is not the conclusion of the journey for the selected one. That's where it starts. The actual work is what's ahead of you. The reason why all of your planning was done. Even you will be astounded by the strength, scope, and unwavering dedication of the forces assembling to support that task. In the end, you'll realize that everything that appeared to be working against you is really working toward this moment as you stand in the fullness of who you've become, surrounded by the support you never thought imaginable and shielded by forces you never knew existed. Your journey is now illuminated by a brilliance that was prepared for by every dark night of your soul.